Everything's settled here. Putting all my stuff in order. Anyone need a marker? All right. Oh, that's nice. Move that. How you guys doing? How y'all doing? Doing good? Tired?
Yes.
What got you tired this week?
Her last night. We were on the phone.
Anyone else? How y'all doing? Well, good morning, Hope Unitarian Church. It is great to see everyone today. Happy Father's Day to any who celebrate. And I'd like to thank you all for being out on Hope Hill this morning, even though it might be a little bit of a tears in heaven kind of day. Unitarian Universalism is something that I came to in my life slowly, but once I got here, I realized I was going to be here for a long time. Because Unitarian Universalism gave me the opportunity when something broke in me as a traditional fundamentalist Christian, and I needed to figure out who I was, who God was, whether there was a God at all, and whether my entire childhood had been a lie. I have answers to all those questions that work for me, but those answers are a gift from Unitarian Universalism because it gave me an opportunity to figure that out and to figure out how that works. Some of you were born to the faith, and some of you have come to the faith much later. And I think there's a gift both ways. But what I love about Unitarian Universalism is that we never get to the end point. We're always changing. We're always growing. And we always do that together in love. So whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, and whatever your life circumstances, you are welcome here. Let's take a moment and rise in body or spirit as you feel called and sing our hymn of gathering. The chalice lighting that I've chosen for the last two services has been one to focus on LGBTQ pride because it is June and it is Pride Month. So I invite you to say this chalice lighting with me today. We light our chalice flame for those who lived their lives in closets of shame, for those who furtively visited the bars where nobody knew your name, for the Stonewall riot and the fierce trans women who fought. We light our chalice flame for all these and for all our siblings of the rainbow, surviving, living life out in the open with pride. You may be seated. I'm in my head thinking of an old episode of Saturday Night Live where Andy Samberg does his segment Get in a Cage with Nick Cage. And he does this imitation of just this insane Nick Cage where Nick Cage goes, "I need everyone to calm down." I don't know. I just thought of that. Little loopy. It's going to be a fun day. Where The invocation is something I wrote that is almost completely opposite and the same as the invocation I wrote for Mother's Day. To all fathers that cared for us, we thank you. To all fathers who through loss continue to traverse a painful world day to day. To all the single mothers who had to pull double duty, we thank you. To the uncles, the granddads who stepped up, we thank you. To all the LGBTQ couples who struggled for years to adopt, we thank you. To the lesbian couples who fulfill both roles, we thank you. To the non-binary parents who don't match the stereotypes, we thank you. This Father's Day, let us remember that binaries don't raise our children. People do, and people don't always fit into simple paradigms. Let's say our covenant together. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. At this time, I would again invite you to rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 20, Be Thou My Vision. You may be seated.
Good morning. Happy Father's Day, everybody. I'm doing announcements, so looking forward to next Sunday, the Adult Forum, which is at 10 o'clock right before service. Our own Jackie Bowling will be, she's covering her face, will be discussing her role as a medium and growing up with the gift of working with spirits. So please join us then. On Thursday, June 25th at 6:30, Indivisible Tulsa County will hold their monthly meeting at the Hardesty Library. The keynote speaker will be Nick Coffey, federal prosecutor for the Western District of Oklahoma. Next Sunday on the 28th at 5 o'clock is the annual Dave Saylor Memorial Concert, and Amy Cottingham Barton will be the performer. She's a pianist and composer and used to be our music director. June Hope Happy Hour is moving to the fourth Friday of the month, which this is going to be from now on until it's changed again. So it will be this Friday on the 26th, and we are meeting at Bella Roma and Jinx on Main Street at 5:30. And if you would like to attend, please let David Tracy know so that he can make sure we have enough seats. And the last announcement is that we desperately need more AV techs who work the back, turn the slides, that kind of a thing. No experience necessary. You get all the training. And we also need door greeters. So let me know if you would like to do that.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Father's Day. So we've talked about pride. We're going to talk about the fathers, but I'm also chose this book, Hair Love, because in my culture, we just celebrated Juneteenth. So even though it seems that I may be free, there are still some things that I have to think about that others don't. For all the allies out there, thank you. Good morning, everyone, and happy Father's Day. Today, we gather to celebrate the many people who help nurture, guide, encourage, and love us. While Father's Day often brings to mind fathers and grandfathers, today we also honor all those who show up with care, stepfathers, uncles, mentors, caregivers, chosen family, and those who love us through life's everyday moments. Because love is not only found in the big things, often love looks like patience, love looks like trying again, love looks like showing up even when something feels hard. The book we're sharing today, Hair Love, is a beautiful reminder that care sometimes shows up in the smallest moments, moments that may seem ordinary, but are actually full of deep love and connection. At first glance, this story may look like it's simply about hair. But if we listen closely, we'll discover it is really about something much deeper. It is about perseverance, it's about learning, it's about the courage to try, and perhaps most importantly, it's about the quiet, powerful ways people say, "You matter to me." For many of us, especially in Black families, hair is more than hair. Hair can carry stories, identity, culture, creativity, and care. It can hold memories of sitting between someone's knees, hearing stories, sharing laughter, or learning patience. And in this story, we will see something beautiful unfold, not perfection, but connection. We see someone willing to learn because love matters more than getting it exactly right. So as we listen today, I invite you to think about this. Who has shown up for you with patience and love? And how do we show love even when something feels difficult or unfamiliar? Let us open our hearts and enjoy this beautiful story together. Hair Love by Matthew A. Cherry. My name is Zuri, and I have hair that has a mind of its own. It kinks, coils, and curls every which way. Daddy tells me it's beautiful. That makes me proud. I love that my hair lets me be me. In funky braids and beads, I'm a princess. And when my hair is in two puffs, I'm above the clouds like a superhero. My hair even does magic tricks. One day, Rocky and I were playing outside when along came the rain. From large to small, it went presto, just like that. There's nothing my hair can't do. Today, I woke up extra early, all by myself. I was too excited to sleep. It was a big day. Daddy was still sleeping. Shh, I said to Rocky as we tiptoed past him. Lately, Daddy has been worn out. He makes me breakfast, takes me to school, goes to work, picks me up, and yesterday we went for a bike ride around the park. I think he needs a break because today is special. I want a perfect hairstyle. This calls for a professional's touch. Paws off, Rocky. Daddy heard the crash. Zuri, what on earth, he asked. I was only trying to help, I said. Daddy smiled. Can I help too? It'll be a piece of cake, Zuzu. The first style was a big no way. The second was no better. No, Daddy. Then Daddy tried slicking my hair back into two puffs. Ouch! Daddy yelled. Wait a minute. Daddy said as he reached into the drawer and pulled out a pick. Ta-da! Daddy, really? I said. I'll be right back, he promised. Now, how's that, he asked, pulling a hat down over my eyes. Daddy, come on, we can do better than that. I really need my hair to be special. Don't worry, he said, we'll figure this out. Then I had a great idea. Daddy gathered all the tools we needed, and we were set. Watching carefully, Daddy combed, parted, oiled, and twisted. He nailed it. Funky puff buns. Pretty, and so much fun. Rocky approved too. I put on my superhero cape as the final touch to a perfect look when my Zuzu. Mommy called from the door. She could not get in the house fast enough. Mommy, you've got to see the prettiest Supergirl I've ever seen, she said. And your hair's beautiful, Zuri. Who did it? I looked at Daddy and he beamed. Mommy smiled. Very nice. Thank you. We learned from the best, Daddy said as he gave her a big hug. My hair is Mommy, Daddy, and me. It's hair love.
Last month, our children shared about their mothers, and so today they get to do fathers and father figures and dads and grandpas. So I am curious to hear what they're going to say, their favorite things about their dads. Come on up. Dads, grandpas, uncle. Do you want to start, Lizzie?
Go ahead.
Come on up, Lizzie. I'll say my favorite thing about my dad is that he played music and woke me up every Saturday really early with lots of music.
Something that I love about my grandfather is how he'll drive me anywhere without a second thought.
Something love about my dad is that he's really funny, and he also wakes me up with his drums.
I love his acceptingness and his weird references and his silly dances.
I love my father's culinary skills.
I love my dad's barbecue.
I love my dad because he's funny.
was 6 years old. The National Spelling Bee. Genius. Complex words like serendipity, duodenum, floxinox in the hillipilification, all spelled correctly up until the final round, one word between me and victory. The spell master clears his throat. Young man, your word is father. The crowd began to chatter amongst themselves, displeased at the simplicity of this final word. So I searched for those eyes that say everything's gonna be okay, just do it. I dazed off. Young man, your word is father. I stood up straight. Father. M-O-T-H-E-R. Father. The spell master looks at me, looks at his flashcard, then back to me and says, I'm sorry, but you're incorrect. I don't think he understands. You see, my father is sitting right in the audience. Excuse me, I'm sorry, son, but you are incorrect, son. Sir, you can save your sorry apologies because you must mean incorrect as within the box of being right. Let me explain something to you. Because obviously, you wouldn't grow up with Papas or Rolling Stones on the hills of women's backsides, and when he is gone, all he's left us was alone, where minstrel men stroll around on bikes, and fathers balance their menstrual, 2 jobs, 2 kids, and a life on a unicycle, and it looks something like this: breastfeeding with one arm, phone on the shoulder, cooking with one arm, cleaning with one leg, tying sneakers with their teeth. Young fathers who make mistakes, because we are not all perfect, but the one mistake they never make is abandoning their seed. You see, fathers are master gardeners. They tend to every leaf, removing the weeds, placing us in the windows of opportunity so that we can lean towards the sun and never forget that the sky is the limit, planting kisses on our cheeks, hugs on our backs, growing their love on us the best way they know how, like my father. My father walked a daily nightmare so that I can live my dreams. My father lived a life with nothing that I may have everything. My father watered me with blood, sweat, and tears so that I could be ripe for the harvest. And I hope that one day I'll be as great of a father as she was for me. You did not ask me to spell disappointment or heartbreak. You did not ask me how to learn to grow to be man enough to walk 1,000 miles of forgiveness, sir. But if you'd like, FATHERDADDADDY, if you'd like the slang, you asked me to spell father. And where I am from and in my life, father is, always has been, and always will be spelled M-O-T-H-E-R. So open your encyclopedias, show me your flashcards, and open your dictionaries. What Webster says means nothing around here. My father's sitting right there, and I love her.
I've that poem by Marshall Davis Jones has a few similar names to it. One is spelling father, the other is misspelling father. Regardless, I've listened to that poem so many times, and not because it rings true to me. It's not my personal story, but I listen to it because I choose to live in a non-binary world. I played the video instead of having it read because his delivery is so personal that I fear any other would be misappropriation. Marshall Davis Jones, however, had an experience different from my lived experience, an experience that serves the unintended purpose of reminding us that the feminine and masculine, when presented authentically, are less than an identity and more of a spectrum. Many of us might find it harsh when he says, "Sir, you did not ask me to spell disappointment. You did not ask me to spell heartbreak." In another version of the poem, in the printed version of the poem, he says, "You did not ask me to spell deadbeat. But if you'd like, FATHERDADD or DADDADDY, POP, or POPS. And to some, that sounds harsh. We're taught to revere our fathers in America and in the United States and in many other countries around the world, in many other cultures. But for many people, Father's Day and Mother's Day cause too much pain. That so many out there refuse to acknowledge it. I know preachers who choose not to preach on it by policy because of the range of emotions of those that can well up during these days. There are people who lost their parents, parents who lost a child, children who grew up without a father or mother, gay parents that are both one thing or neither, etc. But it seems to me that that all or nothing approach in the long run hinders us from moving forward as a people. The fact is, some of us had attentive fathers in our lives, and others had unattentive fathers, or some had abusive fathers, and I think a lot of us were in the middle, having been raised by these human beings one way or the other with flaws of their own that we were told that we had to come to grips with. Either way, we must all reckon with fatherhood because as an institution, it dramatically impacts the American zeitgeist. As Unitarian Universalists, we begin to understand that parenthood is a justice issue. Not just the question of how we parent and what we teach our children, especially in these days or these difficult days, but the privilege itself of being able to raise a child limited by so many external factors, some biological, some political, but all centered around the idea that fatherhood is either a privilege or a punitive measure limited by or mandated by the state. My point is not that all people who try to be fathers are able to be, in that many others have no choice but to be. Because of the complicated nature of parenting, greeting card producers have even had to adapt. For many years, Hallmark now and other greeting card companies have offered Mother's Day cards for dad and Father's Day cards for mom and even cards for aunties and uncles. And having said that, I went on their website and searched for these cards, and though I read that they exist, I found very few of them in their website. They just sort of kept it fairly neutral. And I don't know if that's always been that way or if that's just a change with the political times. But other greeting card companies out there are very clear that fatherhood is not necessarily a thing that is left to the man of the family. And this is not a new idea. It's been around for a while. They even offer step parenting cards for those of us who choose the just add me families. I was in one of those, or am in one of those. One major example of this complication involves the LGBTQ community, not because queer relationships are inherently more complicated, but due to American heteronormativity, they are politicized in many places and discriminated against in others. At this time, only 27 states protect queer couples from adoption discrimination. In 14 states, child welfare agents and state licensed agencies, though through religious exemption, are allowed to discriminate based on sexual orientation when they place children. But the reality is, if the state does not have anti-discrimination protections for sexual orientation, the opportunity for discrimination against queer couples is often a foregone conclusion. And it's easy to say all these complicated things. It's easy to talk about the statistics and the laws, the pushback against the reconstruction of family that has taken place in the LGBTQ community. It's easy to look at Marshall Davis Jones' poem and think all is lost, except if we look at the poem itself, it presents us with a different idea. Take, for example, the narrative of the poem, which asks to spell father, and he says M-O-T-H-E-R, and that means something very important. That means from the beginning, he asserts that he was not raised fatherless. He was just raised in a way that many of us would call non-traditional. But then, is it really? Is it really non-traditional or just unpopular according to the inclinations of some of our more conservative friends? He says in the poem, "You did not ask me to spell disappointment." His opening spelling of father says something important about what it means to be a father. He spells father M-O-T-H-E-R, and when he does this, he's making a statement about what it means to be a father, being very clear. He experienced having a father, though it may look very different from the outside. It would be normal for many of us to look at this situation with a critical eye, and many have. Many have looked at this poem, many in his community and outside, and looked at Hallmark, who offers Father's Day cards for mothers, and said that this is a bad thing. For us, we may just want to express our heartbreak to him that he didn't have our experience, whatever that may be. Or maybe we express that we were glad that he didn't have our experience. But we do this with sympathy. Our understanding, to express our heartbreak for him is sympathy. But the question is that really understanding his poem? Or are we just patronizing him? This man says he experienced growing up with a father, and in doing so helps us understand fatherhood without the reliance on binary of both boys and girls. For the spellmaster, when telling him he misspelled father, he says, "You must mean incorrect, as in within the parameters of being right. Let me explain something to you. Obviously, you ain't grown up where Pops was rolling stone down hills off women's backsides when he comes. All he left us was alone. We're menstrual men," and he says this phrase a lot, and I had to look up to double check and make sure I understood what he meant. When he means menstrual men, he means all the women who fulfill those fatherly roles in the world. He says they're menstrual, 2 jobs, 2 kids, and a life on a unicycle, and it looks something like this: breastfeeding with one arm, phone on the shoulder, cooking with the other arm, and cleaning with one leg, and tying sneakers with their teeth. Young fathers who make mistakes because they're not all perfect, but one mistake they'd never make is abandoning their seed. See, this man will not be patronized. He had a father. And that person is not the person that our culture would say he is. He offers us hope in a culture and in a world that highlights that men do not often deal appropriately in emotion, that men are not supposed to seek understanding, that they never take no for an answer, that men are supposed to speak down to women or control women, that men, if all the podcasts are right, are supermen. But instead of being like Superman, the humble hero, become villains in their own story. We're told that men must be the alpha dogs, an idiom that makes little sense, especially when you understand the biology of wolf packs. In his own experience, Marshall Davis Jones frees us from this toxicity. He says, young fathers who make mistakes because they are not all perfect, but one mistake they'd never make is abandoning their seed. Gardeners, they tend to every leaf, removing the weeds, placing us in windows of opportunity so we can lean towards the sun, so we can never forget that the sky is the limit, planting kisses on our cheeks, hugs on our backs, growing their love on us the best way they know how. See, this is fatherhood, he tells us. In the way he describes fatherhood is not gender specific. He says, growing their love on us the best way they know how, like my father. My father lived a deadly nightmare so I can live my dreams. My father awarded me in blood, sweat, and tears in hopes that I'd be ripe for the harvest. And I hope that I'll be as great a father as she was for me. This is not about minimizing the men in our lives who stand up and become the fathers that we might experience and love. It is about understanding that fatherhood is not something, and motherhood is not something that is specifically gendered toward a moral implication. So maybe you've been a father. Maybe you've had a father. But the truth behind fatherhood is that fathers inspire us to be better than we were, to be the best we can be, to learn from their mistakes, even as fathers when we became parents ourselves. And that goes for everyone, because the fact is you may never have children, but that doesn't mean you will never be a parent. It doesn't mean you'll never look into the eyes of a scared child and say, it's going to be okay. I can help you. It doesn't mean that you'll never take a child's hand and say, you're safe with me. It doesn't mean that you'll never be called upon to be for some child something they never had the opportunity to experience, or something that they experienced so horrifyingly it has to be defined in a different way. Over the years, I've learned that you can choose to not be a father, but you cannot choose to be one. You can choose to get someone pregnant, but that doesn't make you a father. Being a father is not a choice. It is something we do. Something that just happens when you realize the The most important thing you will ever do is make sure this little person gets from here to there safely. And once you are a father, you can never go back to being something else. I can stand here and define the traits that go with being a father. But the reality is that those traits can go with other things too. And that isn't to say those traits don't matter. The thing is, when it comes to being a parent, if you sort of explaining it is just, you sort of know it when you see it. You know it when you feel it. You know that person's a father because it seems that they are a father. You know that person is a mother because it seems they are a mother. And it doesn't matter what gender they are or what is between their legs. It doesn't matter where they come into this child's life. And it doesn't matter how old the child is when it comes into their life. I will now, at this time in my life, find more fathers every day. Because we're never too old to have a father, even though we don't or may not have fathers with us at this time. The difference between father and mother might be arbitrary, and it might not, but I know that fatherhood is not defined by biology. It is defined by willingness. Willingness to take hold of others when life comes crashing down. To listen and not speak when someone needs to be heard. Willingness to put oneself aside so that others may flourish, and to stand up for someone who has not yet learned to stand for themselves. At some point in your life, even if you choose not to be a parent, some child in crisis might reach their hand up to you, because regardless of what you decided in your life, that child needs a father, and you may be the only option they have. You can choose to not be a father. Men can impregnate as many women as they want and walk away. But that's not being a father. You can't choose to be a father. Because when that child reaches their hand up to you, if you choose to take it, you are stepping into a role, and that is the only option before you. And a father makes that commitment and takes that option. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there, regardless of what you look like, what your family looks like, whether you see your children every day or twice a year or once a year. To all the people who have lost parents, I appreciate you and may need you later to explain to me what it's like when that happens. To all of you who grew up with fathers that don't deserve the name, I'm sorry. You deserve better. Happy Father's Day. And go ahead and tell someone you love them today. Thanks. At Hope, we choose a generosity recipient every month, and that means that our plate, the amount of money that we collect today, goes to that generosity recipient. That when we put a check in the basket and write generosity in the memo line, even though very few people write checks now, that money goes to the generosity recipient. When we put cash in the basket, that money goes to the generosity recipient. When we do that because we are trying to build a future. This month's generosity recipient is the Jenks Community Food Bank. We've worked with them before. We will work with them again. And one of the central things that we can do with a world that needs to be loved is help feed it. So I encourage you today to give generously. Let's give thanks for the offering. We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are ever bound in community. Our final hymn today will be hymn number 1064. If it's got a 10 in front of it, that's your teal hymnal. And it is Blue Boat Home. So let's rise and body your spirit and enjoy this song together. Let's extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, that not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Before the benediction, I want to let you know that if you appreciate the charcuterie board outside, to thank the CYRE department that was insistent that we spend so much time appreciating our mothers that we need to give that same energy to our fathers too. So make sure you thank them. I don't know how to benedict this service. It's a weird time for me right now. Look, there's very little that I feel like I haven't said to my dad. There's that one wish that I could have just ministered to him more and told him everything's going to be all right, that he did his job, and that I love him for it. If you get the chance to say that now, any of you, I just give it a recommendation. Let's go in peace.